Anyone with a laptop can make $5,000 per month with YouTube. I'm going to show you exactly how. If you can master the 6 key revenue streams for YouTube that I share in this video, then $5,000 a month is to be expected, and you should be able to grow to $50,000 a month or more in less than a year. It happened to me when I started YouTube, and it can happen for you as well. Before we go any further, don't forget to click the link below, where I'll give you 3 free chapters from my book on YouTube Millionaire Mastery, where I go to great step-by-step detail into exactly how you can make thousands per month on YouTube. When people hear I've got a big YouTube channel, they naturally assume I'm making money from ads. And of course, there's millions of people who dream of getting big on YouTube so that they can live off ad revenue. And while there are plenty of accounts of proper vloggers who just talk about issues or interests and manage to get millions of views and millions of subscribers and really do live off the ads that way, my personal view is that ads are a terrible monetization strategy. Now, even before you start, one of the key things to bear in mind with ads is that they're very niche dependent. And this is the same as using AdSense or banner ads on your website, where the payment you receive for those clicks is entirely dependent on what advertisers are willing to spend for those clicks. And naturally that correlates with how valuable the products being promoted are. And so it's for that reason that while finance, marketing, entrepreneurship tend to be very high paying ads, if you have a website or a YouTube channel that's all about celebrity news or spirituality, pets, a lot of these much more consumer-based niches, then the ad revenue tends to be much smaller. Now that's not to say they can't work, and indeed they do work, because of course those big consumer topics have a huge amount of volume. So it is possible, but the money you make per click and per view is much lower than finance, marketing, business. And so I still find it quite shocking that even though I am in the digital marketing niche, in the business niche, and since starting in September last year, I've had more than 500,000 views on my content, and yet my ad revenue in that time is just $2,100. So that's always my big word of warning to anyone aspiring to be a YouTuber, thinking I can talk about whatever I want, get loads of views, build a following, and then just live off the ads. The fact is, the ads really don't pay much. But that's not to say that YouTube doesn't work. And in fact, for many people, myself included, I still think small YouTube channels can be insanely profitable with the right monetization strategy. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you in my video today. Now, I can say comprehensively that YouTube as a channel is insane. I spoke to a few digital marketing experts who basically said that YouTube today is like blogging 10 years ago in terms of the amount of exposure and reach you can get within a very short space of time is absolutely incredible. And in my case, just over a year ago, I was largely unknown. I'd been working away in the background, trying to build a bit of a personal brand. I just really didn't have that much exposure. So I was trying plenty of conventional means of marketing, still largely reliant on in-person networking, as many service providers and consultants are. But of course, those are very difficult to scale. So I was often literally spending thousands to go to an event just to be in the room with 20 or 30 high-level people. But when I started on YouTube, I quickly discovered that the distribution you get is absolutely incredible. Let me show you what I mean. This is what I do with every video. So in this case, this is a pretty average video. Got 500 views, which on the face of it might not seem like much to write home about. But what's really important, if you come down here, the average view duration, 5 minutes 45. Generally, I average between 5 minutes and 8 minutes. Now, at this point, I like to turn this around psychologically and think, what would you have to pay to get 500 people who are within your target market to pay attention to you for 5 minutes? Now, I've obviously paid for conference sponsorship and speaking opportunities where I've literally spent $10,000 or $5,000 to speak to a room of maybe 200, maybe 300 people. Now, on one hand, I got them for a full 30 minutes, and let's hope they were actually paying attention for that 30 minutes, though I'm not too sure. But when you start breaking down these numbers, it's absolutely incredible. From 5 grand or 10 grand to speak to 300 people for 30 minutes, or for about half an hour's work, just recording a video, I'm able to get 500 people to listen to me for 6 minutes. And the fact is, I can record a bunch of these at once without leaving my door. Whereas an event is a big logistical issue. I was dealing with banners, accommodation, staff. And for exactly that reason, I've cut all my sponsorships. So it's a real value here. Whereas if we compare this with the banner ad revenue, I got just $3.28 from this video. So why do I care about this video? What's the actual value here? Well, the point is that the more time you spend with someone, the more likely they are to trust you and buy from you. And this is basically human instinct. It's marketing 101. The reason that advertisers spend so much to be on buses, billboards, TV, radio, is all about brand recall. If you see a brand everywhere, then psychologically your mind is saturated with that brand for that particular purpose. So when I fancy a cold, refreshing soft drink, it's naturally Coca-Cola. But with YouTube, you can actually do this extremely powerfully with very minimal resources. Like I say, 500 people, 5 minutes each. Therefore, a total viewing time of nearly 50 hours from a video that only took less than an hour to record. It's for that reason you can forget about ads as your only strategy. So for ads, we're going to put in just $1 sign. After that, the next revenue stream I recommend is affiliates. So promoting products in return for a commission. Now, in my case, this is easy because of all my content, I'm largely doing tutorials and case studies, and I use a lot of tools in those processes. And therefore, it's very easy for me to promote the tools alongside the content. So the beautiful thing about these strategies is that I'm already doing the work. If I'm already publishing case studies, then I might as well have ads turned on and make a couple of dollars. It's not a big deal. They're going to show ads on the video anyway, so all I'm opting in for is to receive my cut. And affiliates are the same thing. I don't think it's the best monetization strategy, but I think it's worthy of $2 signs. Let me give you an example. I did a lot of content on Reddit earlier in the year, and I only really knew of one reliable provider of aged Reddit accounts. So I've driven them $23,000 of sales, which has given me a commission of $2,400, and that's still going strong today. I've got $761 still owing to me from the last month. Then here's another software product that I use all the time and I promote it a lot. And again, averaging between $300 and $500 per month. One month I even made $850 on that particular product. And of course, there's all sorts of affiliate programs out there. This was one particular service provider, and I was able to recommend them, and I made about $570 from that. So obviously none of these numbers are really that much to get excited about, but I reckon I make an extra $2,000 a month or so from affiliates, which is not bad considering that affiliate marketing is not the main focus of my channel. So I'm just already doing this content anyway, I'm already getting the ad revenue, and I'm already using the software products, so I might as well recommend them. And the fact is that $2,000 a month, it might not be very much, but it is all margin. Whereas as soon as I sell any consulting or services that we'll come on to later, there's actually a significant cost to actually fulfill that work. But for most people just getting started as a small side hustle, don't just rely on the ads, get some affiliates in there as well. Affiliate review videos do rank very well because especially in the software niche where affiliate commissions tend to be very good because software margins tend to be very high, they're therefore likely to give you 20 to 30% per month for every month that that subscriber stays with the software product. Now, software review videos work really well for a number of different reasons. Generally, people do want this very visual subject. People do want to see a demo and a walkthrough, which is quite difficult to get from a blog post, but it's very easy to get from a video. And for that reason, Google also tends to rank these kinds of videos very high. So just as one example, Jasper, the AI copywriting software from a few years ago, the video pack on Google is actually quite high up. So this is just one potential traffic source. You're going to get most of the views coming from YouTube's native audience, but that YouTube video can also rank on Google as well. So it's not going to take you long to do a good 10-20 minute walkthrough of a software product. It's very low barrier to entry because you can often sign up for either a free trial or just pay for 1 month, do an in-depth review and walkthrough, and this is entirely legitimate. Unlike the old days of affiliate marketing with SEO, no one's actually going to believe you tested 10 lawnmowers, whereas a software product, you can do a really good review from home. So if I were desperate, if I had to make an extra $1,000 a month, that's what I would do, affiliate reviews of software products, and I'll make some ad revenue on the side, but it would be very small. Now, I'll just touch on this one briefly because it's a little tricky to get right, but once you start building a following, it is quite normal to get sponsorships. And that basically means you'll do a sponsored video, but rather than taking a commission, you just take a fee for the video. So it's important to make sure this is a truly aligned product, and you're not promoting something you don't believe in, but generally you can get a good few $1,000s from one of these videos. I tend to get a couple of these inquiries each month. Only a few of them seem to be a good fit, but then generally we'll charge, depending on how they want to work it, what kind of video they want, and how good a fit it really is, then we'll generally charge between $2,000 and $5,000 for that video placement. So realistically, if you're already doing the ads and affiliates and that's covering your bases, you only need one sponsorship a month to get you up to that $5,000 to $10,000 a month in revenue. So that gets us $3 signs. Now, personally, I would still say we're kind of within the side hustle range here. Now, that's not to say it doesn't work. There are very big YouTubers making serious money just with ads, affiliates, and sponsorships. And all they have to do is make videos. So that can be a good fit for you. Maybe it isn't. But I think the limitation there in terms of cash flow is it does take a long time to get there. If you look at Mr. Beast, go and look at his earliest videos, it takes years and years of compounding to really reach that point where you're making serious money. and you need a very big channel for ads, affiliates, and sponsorships to work particularly well. However, there's a massive shortcut. Now, I've said before that the number one way to make money online that I recommend is providing services to businesses. So, of course, marketing services is the big one. If you're watching this channel or you're looking at YouTube marketing videos, then the chances are you've already got a good grasp of digital marketing. And of course, that's a massive industry with lots of opportunity. But it doesn't have to be there. Maybe you're really good at finance, accountancy. If you like the idea of this, but you don't have any ideas to start with, then I'll leave a link below. You can sign up for my list of 100 profitable, scalable service businesses to start in 2024 to get rich in 2025. Service businesses work really well because generally you're solving a high-value problem for a business versus if you imagine selling an item, a widget to consumers, they don't really need it. They're not going to spend more than $50 on it. Whereas a business that's doing millions a year, you can solve relatively small problems that are still worth a huge amount to them. So maybe you're really good at copywriting or sales, in which case if you can get them $200,000 a year in more revenue, then of course they're willing to spend anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000 to solve that problem. So as long as you can master one of these skills and commit yourself to improving at one of those skills continually over time, I think that's a much bigger opportunity than print on demand or a lot of these other make money online side hustles, which I've no doubt do work, but I think they're only a $2,000 a month opportunity rather than a $20,000 a month opportunity. So as I say, I'll leave a link below and you can sign up and get that list. But in my case, YouTube was truly life-changing for my service business because I started mine about 2-3 years ago. I've been in SEO about 7 years, just doing it myself on my websites for about 5 of those years. And that's basically where I was stuck because just like with YouTube, with websites, I was doing ads and affiliates just for myself. So still kind of within that side hustle territory. Where as soon as I took those skills and applied it to a service and therefore going to businesses with high value products, I was able to use those skills to help them sell far more of those products, then the cash flow for me was much better than my blogs, which were trying to get a small commission and banner ads. But the problem with starting that service business was, of course, lead generation. That's very difficult when you're first starting out because you don't have the budget necessarily for an ad funnel. There's lots of testing and learning that goes into that. And you probably don't have the time to do your own SEO and wait for that to mature and grow. You need clients now. So for my first year or so, I was largely based on in-person networking, which worked really well. I got to 6 figures within 6 months, but then I really plateaued because within any service business, you're always going to have churn. You could have absolutely delighted clients and still get fired because you've done the job and they don't need you anymore. So even in the best case scenario, you're still going to lose clients. And that's where I really got stuck, where I was gaining a client, but then losing a client. But then September last year, starting doing my YouTube video per day, and you can see agency revenue grew exponentially. So we literally went up 5 times in 6 months. And I pretty much owe all of that to YouTube. And so this has now taken us up to a true 7-figure agency. So if we go back to our pyramid, services, I should say that services/consulting. Again, if I just quit my day job or was thinking about quitting my day job, but I had really good skills that were valuable to businesses, then even before you've hired a team, productized, created systems, if you just need to get some cash in, you need to get some clients, just offer consulting. Get on YouTube, demonstrate your expertise, sort out a Calendly link with an option to book a call with you for between $200 and $500, whatever you think your time is worth, and just put that in the description. And then your call to action in every video can be, if you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to take this further, then you can book a call with me below. The only issue with both of these is while we could probably give those $5 signs, they are very time intensive. Even with the agency model, if you've hired good team members and staff, you do have quite a high cost of fulfillment. So many agencies end up working at quite a low margin overall, 20-30% or so. And there's a lot of time and energy that goes into that, managing that team, talking to those clients. So although it's very lucrative for cash flow, a lot of agencies and consultants do get burned out. However, again, if you're up here looking at ads and affiliates, then why not offer up a service element to your videos as well? Because in your videos, you're probably demonstrating how-to content, so tutorials, case studies, but there's always going to be a market out there for the done for you. It's like Alex Hormozi says, you want to give away all your secrets for free because what you're selling is execution. Your perfect client doesn't just want to learn from you, they just want to see your expertise and then delegate it to you. A lot of people wonder and they get imposter syndrome thinking, why would people come to me when I've shown them how to do it? They can do it themselves. There's a lot to be said for mitigating risk and improving time efficiency. So a busy entrepreneur certainly could go away and learn how to do something themselves, but that has a significant time cost. And not only is there a time cost, but once they've done all that learning and they implement it, there's a good chance they're going to make mistakes and get it wrong. Whereas if you're a service business like mine, where you've been doing it for 7 years, both for yourself and multiple clients, then the chances are you've made a lot of the mistakes already. You've also got efficiencies of scale, where you've probably got software, team members, lots of things that are very expensive for one business to build up themselves. But as you're serving many businesses, you can basically offer them access to that for a much lower rate. So in my case, my full software stack costs more than $1,000 per month. And therefore, for a business to do everything that I do, they would have to get all that software for $1,000 per month. Or if they take one of my services, then they're getting deliverables, expert support and consultancy, and that software included. So like I say, very lucrative, but easy to get burned out. There's a lot of time and energy involved. So that's why it also makes sense to throw in info products, which we basically mean courses. But I think courses got quite a bad reputation because there's a lot of shady characters out there. But I would say there's a huge number of YouTubers that are under-monetized on the basis that they're doing how-to content, and yet they don't have an info product to actually sell to that audience. So back in August, when I was taking a bit of a break, I rediscovered bonsai as a niche and was looking at all these how-to videos on YouTube. Plenty of those had courses where for anywhere between $50 and $300, you could get a much more comprehensive training on how to do bonsai. And these videos were getting an insane amount of traffic. Same thing with pets. You might have seen recently adopted a cat, then found out it was pregnant. So I've been watching loads of videos lately on all the questions associated with new cat ownership. And the same thing applies. If I see an option to pay $50 to $200 to just solve all of these issues that I'm encountering, then that's a no-brainer offer. Now, while info products might not be as expensive as services and consulting, the margin tends to be very high because you produce that content once, you produce a sales funnel around it, but then it doesn't really matter if you sell 5 of those courses or 500 of them. The amount of work involved isn't that great, just a little bit of customer service, which you can delegate. So info products is quite difficult to assign a dollar value to, because I'd say most people who do courses don't really make that much money. But if you're making a few thousand a month from your courses, and that's all margin, as opposed to having a few clients, but that's eating up all your time and margin, then arguably you're better off staying smaller and just focusing on that. Although fair enough, plenty of course businesses do go on to make millions of dollars because they've got that scalability. So in my case, I've only done a few courses, haven't gone too hard on it, but I've made $17,500 from it, and lots more of those still to come. So again, not as good as services and consulting, where a single client might pay you $50,000, $100,000 over time. Instead, your customer's probably only going to pay you between $500 and $1,000, but you can do volume, it's hands-off, and it's high margin. And either way, it's significantly better than ads and affiliates, because you own that traffic, you own the customer, you can build an email list, and then keep remarketing to those customers, keep trying to solve their problems. And then finally, at the top, we have brand equity. So this can have as many dollar signs as I like. And we've seen them with some of the seriously big YouTubers like Mr. Beast, where they do start partnering up with brands, where they'll basically launch their own brand, which is kind of just a white label. I'm not talking about anyone in particular here, but it's definitely a big trend now that people with seriously big followings are able to leverage that following and launch a product that's just a basic consumer product that can sell millions. As you know, I much prefer smaller channels that are business-focused, business-to-business style stuff. And what I tend to see in this niche is where a big personal brand can quite easily start broken relationships with software providers, agencies, basically all this other stuff that's going on. But if you've got the big personal brand, you can stop doing a lot of the work and fulfillment. So I'm not going to mention any names, but there's plenty of businesses out there where they'll have a famous influencer's face on the front of it, but that influencer isn't really involved and might only own 20 to 30% of that business. But they've got actual equity of an actual business where they're not responsible for any of the day-to-day fulfillment. So this really is the best of both worlds, where you can have the high cash flow of services and consulting, but without the time constraints, without the low margins. But like I say, the real key with YouTube is that you can actually do pretty much all of these simultaneously. If you picture yourself as a consultant getting on YouTube to talk to businesses about their issues and niche down, try and find a particular business issue you specialize in, then you can have the ads, you can have the affiliates, you can try and get sponsorships. All this is no problem at all. If you're doing regular videos, you might as well. And of course, you're free to book a call with. And if you find there's big demand there and you are getting filled up with all these calls, then you might want to productize and create more of a service where you can build a team and have your team fulfill that service for you, and therefore make the one-on-one consulting a much higher priced offer. Similarly, you can then dilute that consulting into info products. If you find you're saying the same things over and over again, then rather than booking a $500 call, you can turn that into a $200 info product, where rather than having to book a call with you, someone can get the exact same information and you don't even have to turn up to the call. It's all pre-recorded. You record it once and you can sell it to millions of people. Now, all of this is a virtuous cycle. It all starts with the content, but if you keep doing that over years and years, then it's pretty much inevitable you will start getting some of these brand equity style deals. And I've not even mentioned the speaking circuit here, where I mentioned about how I used to pay for speaking gigs, but when you're up to this level, you're now getting paid for speaking gigs. I know plenty of people who get paid $20,000 on top of their transport and accommodation just to turn up and give an hour-long speech about all the stuff they already talk about in their YouTube content. Now, it all does start with content and actually getting started. I think the biggest hesitation I had, and I see everyone else having with YouTube, is hesitation, where you think, I need to have the right equipment, the right camera, lighting. I've got this studio set up now, but I didn't have that when I started, and it's just not that necessary. The biggest thing that's holding you back from making millions on YouTube is just execution. You need to get on YouTube consistently, delivering value. I tell you exactly how to do it in my book, YouTube Millionaire Mastery. I'll leave a link below where you can actually get 3 chapters entirely free, where I explain how I was able to break through all the hesitation and just start recording, start speaking, and start delivering value. Then in terms of when you publish that video, and you might find it only gets 10 views, which so much of this comes down to having the right hook. And what do I mean by that? It's basically a copywriting principle where YouTube is obviously fiercely competitive and you have to stand out. You have to get the click. And if YouTube sees you're getting all those clicks, then it's going to distribute your video wider throughout the algorithm. So that really all comes down to how you actually package your content. So you can create content that's really valuable, insightful, but you need to package it in the right way that it's truly exciting and gets that click. And I cover all of my learnings into how to do that in the book, YouTube Millionaire Mastery. There's a whole chapter where I basically said, after about 6 months of doing this consistently, I could basically tell exactly how well a video was going to perform based on its title before I'd even published it. Again, I get annoyed at people quoting Hormozy all the time, but I'm going to do it again and say you have to sell so you can serve. So every video you need to publish needs to be properly sold to your audience so you can then deliver them exactly what they need. Because you have to sell people what they want so you can actually give them what they need to achieve.